Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for being here. Hi to my new subscribers. I'm so glad you guys are liking this. I am going to be re-watching and re-reacting to The Living Years, episode 11, season 1 of One Tree Hill after just getting done listening to the podcast, another fun, fabulous podcast. And right off the bat into this episode, I love that it starts with the counseling or the therapy session. There's so much to unpack there. Like, I have known guys, especially, that didn't really think therapy would help anything. So, Dan is playing that role very well. And he's just acting like a child. Like, "Ugh, I don't want to be here." He's looking everywhere but at the therapist. He's interrupting Deb. And when he's like, "No way this is helping, hustle up." Like, he's just so unbelievably unable to just admit anything. And he's so petulant and he's just so infuriating. I feel bad for Nathan in that because he's just like, ugh. And Deb is trying to make this work, and it's like an uphill battle. It's like you're paddling against the stream, the river, the flow of the river. I totally love that Nathan walks away from both of them. I mean, in truth, that was honestly his best decision, like his best choice, because it's like, what do you do? Your parents are literally putting you in the middle. So I do love when he just walks away. That was a very mature decision, in my opinion. Yeah, Lucas tells Brooke to keep it legal, and she basically busts into someone else's jacuzzi. How quickly Lucas forgot about the keep it legal part. Again, Keith's quips are great when he's like, "Oh, Dan in therapy, that's like Hannibal Lecter in a salad bar." And I will admit, I mean, I agree with the ladies on the podcast because I have always saw that chemistry, that little flicker of chemistry between Keith and Deb. And then Dan's like, "Oh, Keith, I know you like my women, but come on." And Keith always comes back, "Well, she won't be your wife for long if you keep this up." Ba-ding ding. Perfect. I do love just Keith being like, "Tell Nathan to come see me." It's just the little things with Keith. They just speak so loudly with him. I always found the scene with Lucas, like, coming in with the rake because he thought he didn't know who Peyton's dad was. Like, I always find that scene to be a little cringy. And I will say, I find it just so amazing that the casting, like, totally changed the dad because they felt there was flirtations between Peyton and her dad. It's like, I never got that vibe either. So I don't know who picked up on that, but I personally never got that vibe. Peyton giving that CD to Brooke to be like, help her connect with Lucas. It's like, oh, it's like being there for a friend, but liking the guy and falling on that sword, It's like, I love every Naley scene, and it just reinforces the idea that Haley provided Nathan everything he did not get, not only from his parents, but like his friends and like other girlfriends. And just, she really was a rock for him because she was, accepting when she needed to be, and she called him on his crap at the, when he needed it. So it just reinforces how good they were. Like, their characters are for each other. While I totally believe that Lucas was with Brooke because he did genuinely like her, I also think there was a subconscious point there where he was like, she's the cheerleader, she's the popular girl, and I'm trying to fit into this world now. So I think Brooke fit in better to that ideal that he had in his head, but he always knew he really liked Peyton, but he was in this new stage in his life, and Brooke, I feel like, fit better into that. Not saying he didn't care about her, I kind of had that epiphany when she's like giving him the Travis CD, and he's like realizing immediately, okay, this is not from you. This is from Peyton. And once again, we see Peyton's pattern of sacrificing. I mean, she's even like not telling her dad how she feels because she, as a child, doesn't want to take that happiness away from her dad, but it should be the other way around. I mean, it should be the parent kind of being there for their child, etc. And so we see that pattern of she's just sacrificing to make everybody around her happy. I really just love Keith's conversations with really everybody. I really think this one was a good one with Nate because they didn't really have a lot of those conversations. So Nate got to see Keith in a different light, I think. And I think even Keith saw Nate in a different way because, Nathan is working on himself and he's trying to find out what makes him happy. So I feel like that small conversation is so important. I do love that when Peyton's like, I was the queen of boyfriend dysfunction and now everyone's coming to me. Isn't that the way it always is, though? And I do like to see those moments with her and Haley because these are the pretty much some of the only genuine, like, kind of almost friendship type moments we really see between Haley and Peyton. So it's like, it's nice. I'm always surprised when Whitey's like giving Jake crap about bringing Jenny to the basketball practice. It's like, Whitey, I get where you're coming from, but dude, be nicer. And then like you just see Peyton and she's like, oh, I'll take her, Jake. It's like, here we go. Okay, is it just me? But when Whitey was asking Tim, where's Nathan? And he's like, Tim, you're his girlfriend. Where is he? And Tim didn't look that offended by that comment. He is so in love with Nathan. You know, when Brooke is saying she wants to know everything about Lucas, you really feel the connection with her because she's just so infatuated with him. And I don't feel that same level from him. And that is what makes me realize why Brooke was so upset when everything blows up later because she really put her heart into it. And that is, I don't know why this took me a minute to realize this, but like a few watchings later, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like really dissecting this now. So it's like, I get why she was so incredibly upset, like to the point that she was. Ugh, Dan hitting on that waitress and him just being like, what? I like to kid around. No. And then he's like, oh, I'm trying with the counts. Like, no, you're not. You're not trying. What is this? Ugh. You can just see Dan's just like, you talk to Keith? Like, I feel like he's just so jealous of Keith, like, in so many ways because he just can't be that good, you know? So instead of being good, he insists on being a jerk. Once again, of course, Dan had to go to Keith and be typical Dan, jerk off. He's like, oh, I don't mind you playing daddy to one of my offspring, but leave the good one alone. And you could just tell Keith wanted to knock him on his ass when he said that. I wanted to knock him on his ass when he said that. I mean, the whole thing is like, oh, Deb's got her hand up your back. It's like, you are such a jealous, petulant little asshole. Okay, that whole scene with Peyton and Jake, and he's talking about how he loves Ginny so much, and Peyton's like, oh, you're a really good father. I bet you're a really amazing father. And I just realized she's totally kind of living vicariously through Jake's parenting to Jenny, kind of like the parenting she didn't get from her own dad. Not totally, but a little bit. And then you just see like Lucas kind of looking on, like kind of jealous. It's like, you have no right to be jealous, fool. You made your choice. And then when Lucas is all like, where were you at basketball practice, Nathan? And I mean, even though there's still animosity there, like you can really start to see, I think, the ice thaw between them just a smidge. It's starting to crack. And I do kind of love that Haley, the good girl, she like breaks out of class with her boyfriend. It's like, get it, girl. YOLO, you only live once. Basically stealing a car from his dad's dealership, a nice car, and then going to the beach to get drunk. Oh my god. Ah, youth. Oh my god. I swear, this is like the episode of Dan, like, having, like, appearances, just like, like, and then he shows up at the beach house, and he's just, like, so evil looking, and he's like, get in the car. And I'm sorry, when she threw up in his lap, that was just like, karma. And now that we know that they gave her a sip of a banana smoothie to hold in her mouth to throw up, it's like, oh god, that makes it even worse. I do love when Lucas is like, he's got you skipping school to Haley. And she's like, yeah, talk to me when you get your tattoo removed. Boom, mic drop. I have to say, the moment when Brooke spies Peyton and Lucas and Peyton's dad all at the table together in Karen's cafe, and she spies it through the window outside on the street. I think that's a really important moment because that's the moment where she saw it for herself. The writing was on the wall. She probably would know it in her heart that, okay. But like many of us do, especially in relationships with someone we really like, we ignore the signs. So, of course, in Brooke fashion, she lashes out and gets angry, and then Lucas tells Peyton, you gotta stop acting like everything's okay. And I do agree with that. Seeing Nathan be concerned about Haley's F is another real character progression moment. Like, he's just really changing. She's changing him. He's thinking outside of himself and caring for someone else, really deeply caring for someone else. And I just love that blossoming of his side of his character growth. Deb says, oh, Nathan's been skipping school. Dan says, basketball practice. That's the most important thing to him. Oh my god, every Whitey being there for Nathan and just being like, do you love this game? It's just, I'm so glad that Nathan has these other people in his life because he says that he loves the game, but it's like, I just hate what it's doing to my life. It's like, sweetie, that's not the game that's doing that to your life. That's your dad, which of course he finds out later. Okay, I forgot about that moment when, you know, Brooke is just like, I think he wants the best of it. I think Lucas wants the best of both worlds. And I'm like, ding, 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 you got it. And of course, Peyton's just trying to fall on that sword again and just be like, you've got him, so just enjoy him. Like, you felt that frustration. It's like, ugh. When Lucas gives Peyton's dad the comic strip and the little girls say goodbye to this ship to teenagers, like, that is always so beautiful yet emotional. It's a conflicting moment. Seeing Nathan tell Haley, I just want to be with you, the real you. Don't change because of me. Beautiful, perfect, amazing. And guys, take note. Girls, take note. That's the way the guys should be. You should both accept each other for who you are. Don't change who you are. Unless it's for the better, of course. And you want to. But I just love that moment. It's like, don't change because of me. I like you, Haley. Aww. Oh, that moment when Peyton's daddy says he's going to stay. It's just like another emotional, beautiful moment. Okay, not stay, but take local jobs after his 3-week job. But he's going to stay more than going away forever. Okay, so I see. Like, Brooke is also living vicariously kind of with Lucas's affection and care and being a better guy than all the other ones she's dated before, and the lack of her parents. Before, she would push everybody away and just have fun because she didn't want to deal with the emotions, and now Lucas is making her deal with those emotions, and it's a lot for her. So she's really putting herself out there. So again, you know, she is living vicariously, but at the same time, I get it. I really understand why she got so upset later on. It's nice to see Dan at least can show emotion. I mean, this ending scene, like where he's like, no matter what you choose, you're my son and I love you. When Nathan says, I think you chose the wrong son. Like, that was really deep. I didn't feel like that was manipulation. I felt like this was all a very real moment between Dan and Nathan. Although I will say I do find it annoying that Dan just manages never to say I'm sorry. I'm just going to say, I think it's funny when Nathan's like, okay, well, I'm done, Lucas. I just thought you should know. You wanted my world, now you've got it. And I'm like, well, he doesn't have your exact world. And I don't think he wanted your exact world, but I get what you're saying. I do find it ironic that, you know, when Nathan did tell his dad, I don't think I'll ever be the player that you were. It's like, well, of course not. Does Dan not realize how many times did Dan tell Nathan, oh, you'll never be as good as me? It's like, you can't be shocked that he feels this way. I feel for that last scene with Deb when she sees Nathan's room empty. It's like, you feel that moment. And here comes Peyton leaving the light on for her dad, and Jenny being all, Jake being all cute with Jenny and the keys that he was like, oh, she liked keys when Peyton gave them to you. And of course, Lucas and Brooke reconciling, and once again, we see Dan alone by himself, foreshadowing. And when Nathan like rips his, name off his locker and tosses it into the trash, and we see him walk out, and we see, Whitey like off to the side, like seeing all of this, and Whitey looks sad. But that's it for me, guys. Thanks for being here. If you like, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you next week.